morning, Tommy Heffernan, veterinary consultant here. Welcome back to our video series brought to you by Precision Microbes, being brilliant at the basics, all things equine gut health and the focus on the equine gut microbiome. Today is video 8 and we're looking at stress and the impact stress has on gut health. It's kind of a common topic. There's a lot of conversation about the impact of stress in animal health and human health. We kind of primarily know that stress isn't a good thing, but we've got to look at kind of biological evolution, as particularly a species of prey. Horses, like ourselves, we had a mechanism we called flight or fight, which was, as a species of prey, in our biological flight or fight evolution, it was either to stay or get out of trouble. And that was a kind of a stress response that we had to, remove ourselves quickly. It was kind of put the system on autopilot. Through domestication, through human evolution, we now don't have as much need for that. Occasionally we do. But what's become much more of a challenge is chronic low-grade stress. And that has quite an impact on the immune system in all animal species, in our equines and ourselves. So if we think about that pathway and if we look at how that actually works and how does it impact. So if we think about the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the adrenal gland, is this axis where we get stressors impacting that with basically an excess production of a hormone called cortisol. And this is important when we look at cortisol's impact on gut health and the microbiome. So cortisol will do a number of things, particularly when it's released in low volumes over time. Is it decreases microbial diversity. So it has an impact, and we talked about in video 2, the microbiome and diversity. It does an impact on microbial diversity. It actually increases gut motility, and people will be familiar with that, stress-related diarrhea, because of that motility factor where people are under stress, or animals under stress, you can see diarrhea. And the other thing it'll do is it'll decrease that mucin layer we talked about a lot in other videos that protects the gut. So it has a very negative impact. So most of our stress in animals through this pathway and mechanism is kind of low grade. It may be difficult to diagnose, but it may be an underlying issue for some of our gut health problems, like inflammatory bowel disease, and there's a whole range of presentations there. Now, if we look at domestication of a lot of species of animals, and if we look at, work I would have done in the past was looking at this idea of biological and behavioral optimization. So it's kind of going back to evolutionary biology, understanding animals' needs and behaviors. If we look at the horses, they're grazing animal species of prey, how frequently they eat, all those sort of things. And then when we shift animals into a different system through domestication, we can look at that with our farm animals as well. What are the challenges? And there's a natural thing I talk about, that these are stress gaps that, because of the way we manage animals now, it's a normal kind of, I suppose, part and parcel of what we deal with. Understanding that, biological and behavioral optimization, knowing where they are now and understanding those stressors to minimize them. So certainly when we look at gut health, we try and minimize stresses. So diet change can be a big one. Transport, particularly if we're looking at horses going to competitions or whatever. Social isolation for horses, so they like to be paired. There's different stressors. I said transport. So environmental conditions, excessive exercise, all those types of things. So competition, can be natural stressors. We always, of course, through good management, try and reduce stress. And horse owners, vets will know themselves what are the stressors that they're trying to avoid. But I suppose when we look at the impacts of stress in the gut, and we know that there's always going to be stressful periods of time, we do look at supplements like Precision Microbes, which is a complementary feed designed to aid digestive health. It is a very good option during periods of stress. So we have a lot of people, you can go to our website, talking about the use of Precision Microbes at weaning time in foals and competition horses coming up to it when they're transporting horses, because stress can be a normal component of a horse's life. We know that stress, particularly low-grade stress, will have an impact on the gut microbiome by reducing microbial diversity, increasing motility and reduction in mucin. So there is things we can do. We want to minimize stress and look at supplements that can reduce the risk of impacts on gut health. So stress is kind of a well-known thing, but cortisol and stress release, particularly low-grade stress, has a significant impact on gut health. It's something we need to be aware of. So video 9 is next in our series, and it's looking at the gut-brain axis, the relationship between the gut microbiome, the brain and behaviour. It's a really interesting topic. See you then.
It's definitely something that I can say I was happy that I tried it, and I will continue to use it on my horses here at Belmont House Stud.